What's up guys, it's Jacob with X here, coming to another video. Today's video I'll be going over the FAQ that I made about a week ago. This will just be highlighting all the questions that everyone commented. And yeah, so a lot has kind of changed since the last FAQ video. I already kind of made one of them, obviously. But as the day I was going to put it out, the hotfix came out for Boomkins. And a lot of the stuff that I said in my last FAQ video, I felt like that it wasn't as, let's just say, viable. Right, it wasn't the best information, so I wanted to make a whole new one. The last one was about an hour long. Hopefully I cut this one pretty short, considering that a lot of it I've already know the questions. So yeah, if you guys don't already, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. But fuck all that, let's get into it. So, what trinkets are the best right now? How do I decide if I should change a streaking star gear 340 for another gear like 335 with no streaking stars? So the way you decide that, man, is first off, let's start off with the trinket one, right? So for trinkets, there's a really good website called bloodmallet.com. If you just go to it right here, you'll be prompted with this page. Just go to Balance Druid and choose between Azerite or Trinkets, but questions about trinkets, right? So we go to the trinkets and we can see all about, you know, the voodoo doll, doomshroom, all this kind of stuff here. If we highlight over here, we can see that it's 385 item level, does 908 damage. We do 385 item level here, it does 950 damage. So there's a 42 damage difference here. So all these can be really really good for all that. That made no sense. But the things I like to rock right now, at least, are the Dread Aspirant Medallion. This is a really good trinket because it's a 2-minute cooldown. So in certain fights like Fetid, right, you can at least use it twice, because Fetid's around like a 5-minute fight or so for Mythic at least. So it's a really good one to use here as well because it has a really big boost. Use it with Incarn as well, and you'll be off to really good shape. As well as Hadal's Nautilus, another amazing trinket. One thing with the Boomkins though, after the hotfix, is that our sustained damage has gone up a lot, right? So this is extremely crucial to getting really good really good single target damage. Make sure we, like, you know, with Streaker Stars, how we burst it up to 30k, we're bound down to 12k, right? We can burst up to like 20, 25k now at least, and then stay around like 15, 16k, 17k. Around there, right? A lot better sustained damage for us as well. So personally, I like doing Dread Aspirants and Hadal's Nautilus, but that's just me. So how do you decide if you change Streaker Star gear for 340 instead of a 355? The way you would decide that, man, is basically just honestly right now you probably shouldn't be using Streaker Stars either way, right? So I do recommend just using the 355 gear that has none of it, because Streaker Star is not that relevant right now. You think Boomkins will be buffed for single target DPS? I did say another the video that I recorded about a week or two ago. This is what I said. Can't really see them buffing single target. I think what they need to do is they need to make our Astral Power spenders a lot more damage. Like, I'd actually like to see kind of like a Star Surge buff or something like that. Do like a Star Surge buff, maybe something like that. But I think the rotation and everything's fine as well. I think it'd be cool to see another Azerite trait be used more, like we're seeing with Archive of Titans, which is nice. But for single target damage, I don't think we're gonna get a buff or anything. So I did say that I did not think we are gonna get a buff for single target DPS, but I did obviously mention, as y'all saw, that I think single Star Surge should get a buff. I'm really happy about that though, because as I said, the Astral Powers, the way we felt, you know, you went up to 40 AP, you shot a Star Surge. It just didn't feel that good, right? Didn't feel as powerful as it should have been. So thank God for that buff. Really happy about it, quite frankly. Do you have some sort of list for best in slot trinkets for Balance Druids and other handy stuff like that? Yeah, so like the last guy, basically go to Blood Mallets. Amazing website. I use it a lot actually for, you know, making sure like what trinket's the best. I use this one over this one, as well as raid bots for simmons. So help me please. So this question right here, guys, I sum it up for you. Basically, she's upset because in Mythic plus Dungeons, she's getting beat by classes like Demon Hunters, Mages, and the DPS on Trash, which is understandable. But you're not doing anything wrong, right? For Boomkins, for us, like as Boomkins, we don't have one button, you know, we don't have a button we press and boom, we have a lot of damage. Demon Hunters and Mages, they do a lot of damage with one button. They just press I-beam, boom, top of the charts. For us, our damage ramps. They press one damage and they decrease, right? So for us, we have to ramp our damage up. We have to do Sunfire, Moonfire, dot everything, Lunar Strike, get up to Starfall, Starfall again. And once we get our Starfall going, because we have dots and everyone else, we just keep doing Lunar Strikes, and we'll do a lot of DPS from there. So we sustain a lot better than they do. The issue is obviously, yeah, obviously we don't have one button to press, so obviously they're gonna do more DPS at the beginning. Nothing you can really do about that though. It's unfortunate. And then also, this whole block of text here, she goes on to say that she does not use her Lunar Strike empowerments. She only uses them if she has Warrior of the Loon on cooldown. So always use your empowerments. Always. The empowerments, solar and lunar, provide a hefty amount of DPS. Also, when you start a search, also you get 1 proc of each of them. So highly recommend always use your lunar and solar empowerments because those will provide you the best DPS. If you do not have a lunar empowerment available and there's not 3+ or more mobs, keep using Solar Wrath. Is there any build talent build for hybrid damage AoE and single target? There really is not a build for that, but these are the talents that I use right here. We have Fury of the Elune, Twin Moons, Incarn, Typhoon, Restoration Affinity, as well as Force of Nature. Thank God for these buffs though, because these buffs allowed us to do a lot more hybrid damage than we did before. Beforehand, we used Streaking Stars, and that was kind of lackluster for AoE. Now we can use all these different types of Azerite traits. We can combine Azerite traits. We don't have to stack everything unless you're doing Lively Spirit, of course. And we could just combine all different types of things. And the Starfall buff helps a lot as well. So we are a lot better off for AoE and AoE with buffs, I think. I'm very happy about the nerfs to Streaking Stars, by the way. I did think it was fun, but overall, pretty happy about it. Hey X, I am a new player in WoW, and one thing that kind of confuses me is your frequent recommendation of the Force of Nature talent. I've always been under the assumption that taunts and stuff should be left to tanks generating aggro is a big no-no as DPS. Obviously, that isn't always the case, otherwise you would not be recommending it. But I was wondering if you could please explain what kind of situations would be appropriate for popping off a Force of Nature. Do tanks know what's happening when you use it, or does it make them freak out when they're losing their attention of a target? Thanks in advance. Sorry if it comes off as a dumbass here. You are not a dumbass at all, Basilisk. So basically the way Force of Nature works, let me start with this at least. Force of Nature is the best single target DPS, meaning that if there's only one boss using Force of Nature does not generate aggro from raid bosses. It only generates aggro from actual not NPCs, I'm sorry, but Mythic plus trash. So the reason I use Force of Nature is because 1, it's the best single target DPS. 2, it does not generate aggro. So when you're on a raid and you pop Force of Nature, the tank, he probably won't even notice unless he's looking around. He sees some big trees laying around him, right? So he probably won't notice that at all. I would not worry about it. Let me close. Salt Glare. He probably would not know about it, so I just recommend always use Force of Nature. I always pop it when it's off cooldown, unless I want it for another mechanic, like if there's for Fetid. When I have to really focus down the egg, I make sure I use my Force of Nature on there to get the most DPS. But if it's just on a boss fight, use it whenever it's off cooldown. Tricky Stars or Power of the Moon. So I would say neither right now. Obviously, we can see this one is before the Hotfix. So I would just say neither of them. I would use whatever is your highest item level gear right now, because our secondary and main stat, they did not theoretically get a buff, but they are much more viable than they were beforehand. So whatever you can do to get the most intellect and the best secondary stats as possible. Currently at the moment I have 2 385 pieces of gear, 1 with Tidal Surge and 1 with Razon's Fury, and that seems to be working out for me pretty well. So I highly recommend using one of those. Not the Razon's Fury or Tidal Surge, but whatever's the highest item level piece you have. Alright, so is Streaking Stars our only way of doing decent damage? I've never gotten a piece of Streaking Stars trait when I'm in a group with decent DPS. I can't keep up with them. It was our only way of doing decent damage, other than Lively Spirit, of course. But now that we have a lot of options. So, good ways of doing damage now is obviously you want to get like 16-17% haste, probably like 17 to 20% crit. 20% is pretty on the high end. 17 to like 19% crit. And, try to get whatever Azerite piece is the highest item level. Right now, that's probably the best way to rock with it. If you can, do 3 Lively Spirits as well. Make sure your healer knows that you'll be using Innervate on them. Try to get as many procs off as you can. If you guys are doing progression, though, it'd be kind of hard to get Lively Spirits off. But always make sure your healer knows what's going to be the deal with that. 3 Lively Spirits is very good. Anything else, a lot of the other traits is good as well, like Meticulous Sheaming, Blightborn Infusion, that kind of stuff as well. The Azerite traits that buff your secondary stats are really, really good. So try to use one of those if you can. When clearing packs of mobs, how many / what HP do you stop spreading Moonfire if ever? So the way I go about going, the way I go about fighting mobs is, first off, I always spam Moonfire, so I have Moonfire on everyone. By the time that the mobs all have Moonfire on all of them, they're usually stacked up. So I usually cast Sunfire by then, because Sunfire is a AoE spell. After that, just keep spreading Lunastrike until you get to buff for Starfall. Usually by then they should die. Unless it's like a mythic effects that makes them have more HP, maybe. But other than that, I would just go with that. Just keep spreading Moonfire and then Sunfire, and then keep the Luna striking until they're about till you get enough for Starfall. That's what I recommend. Ish 3 BB 3. Why do you play Balance Druid and for how long? So I've played Balance Druid for about 8 or 9 years or so. It's been quite a long time. I started playing Balance Druid when I was around 8 years old. My dad, his coworker introduced me to World of Warcraft, and the first thing he did was he was a Druid, and he just shapeshifted into a bear and Moonglade, and ever since then I just fell in love with the class. I love it a lot, and I don't know, just shapeshifting into stuff is really cool, and I just enjoy the way Balance Druid feels. They provide a lot of utility. Really good DPS. They're a hybrid class, which makes it a lot of fun to play. Really good for world quests and world PvP as well. So I just love the class. I have a lot of fun with it, and really I like it. Who do you trust more as far as Boomkins go, Icy Veins or Wowhead? I would probably say Icy Veins, but Wowhead, I think they have the same writers. I'm not 100% sure on that. Do not quote me on that though. But a lot of them have almost to identical the same information though. So whatever really works out best for you, I would say, whichever one you like looking at more. I know it's kind of painful to say, right? As well as if you need help or anything like that, you can go to a Twitch stream if you need any help, or if you have questions like which one of these are right, they look pretty similar but this one thing's off, right? You can link me and I can definitely take a look at them and tell you which one's up, which one's right, I mean. But as far as I would say which one's better, I'd probably say Icy Veins. I'm not 100% sure on that one though, man. I'm sorry. I don't really look at those ones a lot, quite frankly. I usually just theorycraft and talk with other Boomkins. I know me and my buddies, we're all Boomkins, and they're pretty high tier in guilds, and we just kind of talk about what's good, this could be better, why don't we try this one out? Just kind of that kind of thing. If other traits like Thunderous Blast, Champions of Azeroth, Laser Matrix that sim almost identically as Striga Stars over a 5-minute fight, 0.1% difference, should I take those over Striga Stars? 100% you should take those now. This is, again, a question before the hotfix. More than likely, I'll do another one of these videos where I'll go over, like, hey, guys, comment down below questions for the hotfix if you have questions, and we'll go through them. But, yeah, so, yeah, since there's less room for error, less DPS loss if you have move with Incarnation, etc. Yeah, so 100%, I'll just go with taking your Thunderous Blast, Champions of Azeroth, Laser Matrix now, especially Laser Matrix if you're going to be going into old here. So. Stats for better DPS. I go highly recommend with going Intellect, obviously. Get a lot of Intellect. They go to Haste, Crit, Versatility, and then Mastery. That is what I would recommend. Miel de la Rosa. Why did I try doing that? Whatever. That's what I would recommend. When do you know how to use Incarn on a boss? Especially if it's like Mother, where you have to move a lot. That's a really good question. So when should you use Incarn on the boss, especially for Mother? So the way I like to use Incarn is I want to know, okay, how long is the fight? Is the fight 3 minutes? The fight 10 minutes, right? The fight like Mother, usually it's not that long, right? I can use Incarn twice. The way we do it, I just use Incarn at the very beginning, and that way once we get to the third room, I use Incarn again. The way we do it though is from going to the second room to the third room, we have everyone stacked up and push everyone over at the same time. And I usually have Incarn available around that time anyways, and she takes 100% more damage, I believe. So that's when I use Incarn there. The way you want to use it though is, am I using it with Bloodlust? Do I have enough time to use it again, right? Is there a certain phase on the boss that I can pump out a lot of damage? Can I do enough? Can I not use it at the beginning, but is there an ad phase, right? Example, like if you're on Zekvaz, right? The ad phase on that, if you use Incarn, your DPS will skyrocket, right? But can use it at the beginning too. These are things you have to do, like when you guys wipe, how long was it into the fight, that kind of thing. It's more like just trial and error. What's the best situation for your group and to time it for the most output DPS you can? What do you think about the Talaq Trinket for Boomkins? I think it's really, really good. I do think that there's certain trinkets like the PvP trinkets are amazing right now, just because the the on use intellect, like 1200 more intellect on use paired with incarnation is stupid amazing. So I think that is extremely good. I do like Talaq Trinket a lot though. What is so bad about Stellar Drift, and why don't you use it for AoE? Stellar Drift is not horrible. There's just things that are better, right? The reason I do not use it for AoE is because Twin Moons is significantly better. Think about it this way, right? You have 4 mobs, and you're just gonna dot 2. You literally have to dot 2 of them, and every single mob has Moonfire because Twin Moon spreads to one other target, and after that, just Sunfire. Stellar Drift is good because you get the 25 or 20% more damage on Starfall. I've actually never used it this expansion, so I'm not 100% on that, but yes, it gives some more Starfall damage, but either way, your Starfall does so much now, plus the buff. Some things that I have seen people use Stellar Drift on, though, for certain fights is Mother, surprisingly enough. So I've seen people use Nature's Balance and Stellar Drift on Mother because what they do is it's a really good way to avoid the winds. Also, if you're going to be doing the ad phase with the winds, you can cast while moving as well. So people use that on Mother. I've never tried it. I've seen a few top ranks use it, so it looks pretty decent. But I think there's just better alternatives to Stellar Drift right now. Jake, I like your name, by the way. My name's Jake. All right. What stat percentages do you recommend? Looking for an easy haste versus crit percentage to maintain rather than always having to sim. So the stat percentages that I do recommend, I would have to say are haste. I'd be like 16 to 18%, like 15 to 18% haste, and then crit I'd probably say like 17 to 19% crit. Like right now I'm at 17% haste and 19% crit. It's really good. It's really good actually. As well as like when I go into older, I'm setting around like 22% haste and like a lot of crit. Not really any crit, sorry. 22% crit haste and then 19% crit. So because of the reorganization array that gets from the Archive of Titans trait. So I'd probably say like that, man. Hopefully that helps, Esky. I know it's annoying to sim all the time, but unfortunately you just gotta do it a lot, and that's how you min-max. If you don't want to min-max, you just want to have like a decent idea, then you can just go with what I just said, but min-maxing is always crucial to make sure you do the most output DPS. What is your time played? It is around 300 days or so on this character. I've had him for a while. It might not seem like a lot to people, but I feel like 300 days is a lot. Like almost a year, but maybe that's not a lot. Hey, I'm a 358 balance, and I have a question regarding damage. When I check logs and find myself missing out on a lot of damage, or I'm not reaching damage like other balance druids, should I care about my sim at all? Any advice for help maximize my damage? Yeah, for sure, Dunkaroo. The way I'd say, you should 100% care about your sim, because a sim is obviously thousands and thousands of iterations of your current spec and gear. So it's pretty damn accurate. That's showing what you can actually pull on that boss. If you're actually able to pull that on the boss, you're doing almost everything perfectly. Obviously, you don't have flasks, food buffs, pre-pots that are being used during the sim, so you probably actually do more than that, more than likely. Any advice for help maximize my damage, though? I would say a big thing for Boomkins is making sure you're using your star surges and your empowerments correctly. I've seen a lot of people, they don't use it actually correctly at all, is what I should say. Let's say, for example, like you're in a phase. What's a good example? Let's say Mother, right? It's not the best example, but it's an example. The fire comes on the floor. The little amount of movement that you do. Let's say you have 40 AP. If you save your AP to cast the fire when she puts the fire down and when you have to move, that extra 40 AP when you Star Surge is going to help maximize instead of just casting Moonfire and Sunfire. So a really good way to maximize your DPS is just always, like, when you're about to move, you have to do it within a mechanic or something like that, make sure you have Astral Power saved up, right? Make sure you can use your Astral Power when you have to go do these movement mechanics and all that, so you maximize your DPS as much as possible. If you're not able to, obviously, you have Moonfire and Sunfire, but honestly, the best scenario would be to try to get 40 AP so you know when a mechanic is coming, and that way you can use it then. How can I get better at uni-target damage? So this is a very vague question. How to get better at uni-target damage? I'd probably just say, make sure you're doing, using your lunar empowerments and your solar, your lunar empowerments, your solar empowerments, all kind of stuff correctly. Make sure you min-max your movement mechanics. So like I just said in the last question, make sure you Star Surge and you're doing like a movement mechanic. make sure you know when everything's happening, right? A huge thing with Boomkins right now is, we need to make sure that we're using our movement to our like advantage, right? You don't want to just, you can't spam Star Surge, and then when you get to a mechanic, you're just going to be casting Moonfire and Sunfire. So that's a huge part for that, Ghost Dragon HD. Which add-on do you consider essential for Balance Druid? The add-ons that I consider essential for Balance Druid are probably the weak auras, honestly. I love having the weak auras available for me because they're really, really good for, I can see how long my Moonfire and my Sunfire are on the target for. I can see how many empowerments I have. I can also see my Astra power bar. For me, though, like once you've played Boomkin for a while, right, you kind of already know how much each spell does to gain you Astra power, but, Shooting Stars can obviously give you the proc for more Astra power, so it definitely does help to get more, to see your Astra power bar. As well as I do have a video going over my whole UI, so if you want to check out my YouTube, obviously you guys are on my YouTube. If you guys want to check out my YouTube channel, I have a UI video going all over that as well. Want to explain in depth your keybinds and why your spells are placed in keybound like that? I don't really have a certain way why I have my keybinds. These I've just always had them the exact same way for literally like years. I mean years. I don't really like using control. I'm more of like Shift 1 through 6, and then just using Shift Q, Shift E, Shift R, Shift T, Shift A, Shift D, Shift F, G, X, etc., etc., etc. I don't really have any reason why they're placed there. I just kind of have it because it's more like just muscle memory at this point. I just know where every single spell is on my keyboard, and I don't have to think about it. I feel like that just came with me over time, and there's really no reason why I have them like that. Glyph of Stars, like a filthy peasant, or do you embrace the Boomkin? The Moonkin, sorry. Currently, I am a filthy peasant, but as soon as the Zandalari Troll Druid comes out, you bet your ass I'm going to embrace the Moonkin. I cannot wait for that Zandalari Troll Druid form. During Inkar Shooting Stars, how many targets would I need to use an empowered Lunar Strike for an increased DPS? If ads die in less than 6 seconds, Shiny Wrath, Lunar Strike, Moonfire, or Sunfire spam. For the amount of ads that you should be available for DPS increase, I'd probably say 3. 2 is on the iffy side, but I'd probably say 3 or more ads for a Lunar Strike DPS increase. As well as for the ads, though, that die in less than 6 seconds, I'd just do Lunar Strike and then Sunfire, because by the time you do those, they'll be dead already. Assuming you're talking about the Mother fight, where you go over to the other side for the barrier and you find those ads, because those ones die really, really quickly. But I would just do a Lunar Strike and just Sunfire spam after that until they're dead. What do you enjoy the most about Balance Druids? Things that I enjoy the most about Balance Druids are probably just their utility. I love the utility. I love the way they play. I love shapeshifting into forms. It's really, really good to dodge mechanics as well. You can go to cat form, Tiger's Dash, go 200% speed, gradually decreasing, obviously. But I love the utility. I love how they can heal as well. Restoration ability in Ysera's Gift is awesome. I just love the way they play. I enjoy being a Boomkin, and I think it's I don't know. I've always loved the class. I'm not too sure. I just always liked the class. It's always just stuck with me, I guess. The best talents and traits for Mythic Plus. So as you can see right here on the screen, these are the best traits and talents that I use for Mythic Plus. Actually, just the talents right here. I go Fury of the Illume, Incarn, Typhoon, Twin Moons, Force of Nature, and Restoration Affinity. These are the ones I like to use the most, strictly because Force of Nature can help the tank a lot, and Incarn is really good as well as Fury of the Illume, because the ad packs is only like a minute cooldown, so that's what I like to do for that. The traits though, because of the hotfix, I would just recommend going with anything that's a higher item level that you can use. Anything that can help boost your secondary stats. I'm not 100% sure on Lunar Shrapnel yet, but I have heard talk that it could be good in 15 plus. Do not quote me on that. Don't even think about that right now. Just right now, I think what you should think about is working on just getting traits that are good for your secondary stats and all that, like Blightborn Infusion or Meticulous Scheming. Can't even say that word right. Do you think there's a chance a single target will get buffed? As I said in the previous question, yeah, this is obviously, we already know it got buffed, right? But I was actually pretty happy that I predicted that was going to happen, so that's pretty cool. The favorite traits, I'd probably say like Lively Spirit. Lively Spirit is like a really, really cool trait. The only thing I don't like about it is that you have to depend on your healer as well, which is kind of unfortunate in a way. But I do enjoy Lively Spirit a lot. I think it's really, really cool. I think I like Archive of Titans as well. Just Archive of Titans, it's pretty bland, right? It doesn't really have much effect besides that it gives you more intellect, as well as it gives you the reorganization, the array that gives you your second highest secondary stat. But those I'd probably say are my favorite. I think they're really, really cool. Is it worth just using 3 pieces of Trinket stars if they're all 340? Use 2 of them with 370 piece. Also, is the Way Crest, 2-piece Trinket ring set worth it for Boomkin in your opinion? I don't think the 2-piece Trinket is worth it, but I do think the Way Crest Trinket alone is worth it. The Way Crest Trinket is insanely good. Is it worth it choosing 3? I would just go with if you have 2 370 ones and they're not the highest, I'd probably say use Trinket stars right now after the hotfix. But if only you have 340 ones. If you have higher item level gear that you can use instead of 370 Trinket stars, then yeah, but definitely just try to work with whatever highest item level gear you can right now. Bis. Alright, what macros do you use for Boomy? Also, when running SS traits, when I use Incarnation, I know how to cast different spell. I know I have to cast different spells to make use of SS traits, but I find myself using the same spell. Any tips on that? Thanks. Also, besides the SS trait, which changes your rotation, or the next best traits that you don't change your rotation? So, the best macros I'd say for Boomkin are going to be right here. These are the Starfall and the Force of Nature. So you guys can see my mouse right now. Let's say I'm in a screen. Literally, wherever I highlight in the game, I just press that, and it automatically puts it down there. So it's a mouse over macro. I like it a lot. I use it for Force of Nature and Starfall only though. As for Streak of Stars, I really wouldn't worry about it too much. If you find yourself using the same spell over and over again, and you are using Streak of Stars for some reason still, I highly recommend just keep practicing on a training dummy, man. I know how silly or like stupid that sounds, but just keep practicing on a training dummy. The amount of times that I've spent beating that dummy to death is unreal. So I would recommend just train on the training dummy and that kind of stuff. What are the next best traits that don't change rotation? I'd probably say Archive of Titans and really anything else that just has a on-hit chance to proc, like Raison's Furrier or Title Surge. I am a 346 item level and make 910 DPS. I saw a ton of guides, download DPS add-ons, and nothing. What can I do? So this guy, he linked me his profile. Basically, he did not have that much haste, nor did he have that much crit. So what I would say for him is obviously just get your crit and haste up, and that will come, right? He's only 346 item level, and he's doing not a lot of DPS, but just get a little more item levels. You get a lot more intellect on your gear. You get easily a lot more haste and crit, so that will substantially increase your DPS, as well as the traits you need to be using. I'd probably say Archive of the Titans, that's something like that, or Lively Spirit if you can coordinate with your healer well. What do you think about Balance / Feral and overall PvE? The biggest disappointment in BFA is the Druid class. How is it possible that Feral Aspirants are good in PvP but suck at PvE? So basically this whole thing just goes on to say how he's 345 item level and he was doing 13k burst and 8 to 9k consistent damage. He was mad because of the Starfall nerf and all that for the Azerite trait, I'm assuming. Lunar Shrapnel, because yeah. But obviously with the hotfix, we did see that Starfall got buffed by 15% as well as Star Surge. So little bit is kind of irrelevant. I mean, we are smacking down a lot of classes right now. I know in my raid group, I'm literally top 3 DPS almost every single fight. So, and also he does say here he has a good stat combination though: 14% crit, 15.5% haste, and 26% mastery. I would highly recommend though getting rid of a lot of that mastery if you can. You're only 345 item level, so you do have a lot. You don't have that much gear to probably work with. But once you get more item levels, you'll be able to get a lot more gear. Work around with that a lot better. And yeah, probably get a little less mastery, get some more crit for sure. Because right now you're doing like 1 out of 8 of your Star Surge's crit. Try to get around like 18, so you get like 1 out of 5.3, 5.5 of your Star Surge's crit. Man, I'm playing Boom. I'm 355. Watch your videos all the time. There, played Boomkin. And I've been playing the game since the release of Vanilla. Awesome, really cool, man. Actually, like generally. Any chance I can get in contact with you about rotations, the stats, etc.? I'm trying to pump out damage, and I sometimes feel like I'm missing something. I don't really add a lot of people on here, man. But if you want to go to my Twitch at twitch.tv/DazzaX, I can 100% help you there. I don't really add that many people, I'm sorry, but I do stream a lot. And if you have any questions whatsoever, I do not mind answering. I answer so many questions on my stream. I go pretty in depth as well. So yeah, 100% ask me on there. I also go over log reviews. So if you guys have logs you want me to go through, just go to my stream. Hey, I'm a Boomkin and I need help with my rotation. Item level is 341. Yeah, I'm still not doing that much DPS. Thanks for the detailed vid, by the way. So she linked me her profile as well. Basically, she had Lunar Shrapnel and Power of the Moon as her Azerite traits, and she had like not a lot of haste either, nor crit. Obviously, it's unfortunate, Maurice, that your DPS is pretty low. You do have a pretty low item level as well, and you're not using the correct traits. Obviously, playing the game more, getting more traits is going to be extremely crucial. Make sure to do your mythic zeros every single week. It's going to be a huge, substantial boost to your DPS. But what I would say to do is get rid of Lunar Shrapnel, get rid of Power of the Moon, use any other one of those besides Lively Spirit. If you're using Lively Spirit, make sure your healer knows, but just make sure you try to get the haste and crit up as much as you can. If you have any other questions, though, just comment down below about that, Maurice, if you want to go more in depth about it and I want to see your progress. But that's really it for this video, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I feel bad that I had to redo a whole another one, but I didn't want to leave you guys with content. I'm sorry, a video that was not 100% accurate for what was stated or all that kind of stuff. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I didn't want to give you guys a video that was inaccurate. It's basically what I'm trying to get at. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video a lot. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you guys are not already subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do, because I post a lot of Boomkin content, as well as make sure you guys go to follow my stream at twitch.tv/DazAX. I try to stream every day except for Tuesdays, so be sure to check it out then. If you guys have any questions further and you guys post a comment, I do not respond. I usually respond like a day or two, but if not, go to my stream. Say, hey, fucker, you didn't answer or something like that. But other than that, though, guys, hope you all have a great day, and I will see y'all next time in another Boomkin video. And yeah, later, guys.